First of all, it is a genuine honor to be able to be with you today. We Americans have marveled at the physical courage so many Ukrainians have showed and the moral determination the past few months. And many of us have watched by with incredible awe as you've withstood brutal assaults to champion such audacious ideas as government exists for the people, not the people for the government, or that Ukraine, like every other nation, deserves the right to choose its own future. And the United States wants to help. We want to be constructive. The choices are yours. We make no determination for you, obviously, but we want to help. This time, the ideals for which you have struggled and sacrificed have a real chance of maybe being able to be realized. And this time, maybe democracy can really be delivered. It's now been 10 years since the Orange Revolution and almost a quarter of a century since independence. And Ukrainians understood all too well, I suspect by now, why Thomas Jefferson, one of our early presidents, said, "A generation which commences a revolution rarely gets to complete it." You're getting to complete it, I hope. The hardest work still lies ahead, and it falls to all of you in the civil society. Today, I've spoken with your acting president, the prime minister, and members of the Rada, and 3 of your presidential contenders. But I was most looking forward to speaking with all of you and listening more than speaking, quite frankly. Because as surely as a man cannot live without blood coursing through his veins, democracy cannot survive without participation of its citizens. Jefferson also said, if you want a nation that's both ignorant and free, you are looking for what never was and never will be. You are the lifeblood. And that's what it means when we say a civil society is the kernel of democracy. I also want to discuss with you the work ahead, how to strengthen democracy, how to root out corruption, how to keep a country united, and what the United States can do to be of a positive service to you. Ukrainians are preparing for an election next month on the 25th, and America is providing funds to help bring in so many monitors that no one will be able to question its legitimacy on May the 26th. But as you all know, elections are just one step in the larger process of reclaiming or establishing, maybe, a genuine democracy. Another is constitutional reform. I've had 4 hours of discussions with some of your leaders about constitutional reform. And the other is a civil society that has exercised leadership. And you've all been doing that. I applaud you for respecting the diversity of your countrymen, for promoting greater local governance, and for seeking a court system that is independent and trusted by all. I've been a United States Senator or a Vice President for a long time. I've gotten to meet literally every major world leader in the last 38 years. I've witnessed and gone through and been in the countries going through change and revolution for the last 30 years. And none ever succeed unless they're able to establish a court system that's trusted. None ever succeed unless they're able to generate a free press. None ever succeed unless they are able to reach a modus vivendi on what form of government is going to deal day to day with their rights. And one of the problems that you all know and you've been fighting against for a long time here since independence, before as well, is corruption. It's a cancer. It's an absolute cancer. Corruption corrupts everything about us as a society. Ukrainians, I think, understand this in their bones. that corruption has held our country back, has held your country back. It's eroded trust in democracy, it's stifled innovation, and it has, quite frankly, scared away investment from other parts of the world. No one wants to be engaged, unless you're Mr. Putin, in a society that is thoroughly corrupted, run by oligarchs. But people's response is even more personal. My guess is, if past is prologue, what corruption bothers most of you about is it denies you of dignity, of respect. It's a simple, basic human need. It feels like everything is taken from you in a corrupt society, not just your physical possessions. People are tired of public officials who steal from them. We congratulate the RADA on passing a law to make government procurement more transparent. It's the first of many, many steps you are going to have to take. There are several other pieces of legislation in the RADA that would maintain the momentum. The United States is making anti-corruption the focus of our assistance, not the billion-dollar package, which we have no problem with, not pushing the IMF to come up with a much bigger package, not continued support as we go down the road. But the immediate package of $50 million or more is focused on dealing with what I believe is the root cause of many of your problems, and that is making anti-corruption the focus of our assistance, including support for more transparent stewardship of your natural resources, more modern practices regarding government procurement, and the creation of a vetted anti-corruption unit that is beyond reproach, that operates somewhat independently within your government, as it does in ours and others. And later this month, the United States Attorney General will host an international conference to help identify, trace, and confiscate assets stolen from you. And I want to take a moment to speak especially to Ukrainians from the East, if they are able to get this broadcast at all. Many people presume to speak on your behalf these days, often without any input from any of you. I know that the men and women who hide behind masks and unmarked uniforms, they do not speak for you. But I also understand that many of you have genuine concerns about your families in this time of unrest and uncertainty. The United States supports all Ukrainians. And I want you to know that I've spoken to the leaders of your country and urged them directly to keep reaching out to you, listening to what you have to say, keep sending an unmistakable message that all are welcome as equals in shaping a new Ukraine. We count on you to be the voices for rights and freedoms, whether they are demanded in Ukrainian or in Russian, whether they belong to Crimeans or Tartars or Poles or Hungarians or Roma, whether they come from Orthodox voices, Catholics, Muslims, or Jews. We know something about an integrated society. In my country, most of you do not know, but by the mid-20s, people from European stock like me will be an absolute minority in my country by the mid-20s. We understand what it means to respect different voices. There's a cacophony of voices in my country, speaking different languages. Often, I just was in a restaurant in Miami, Florida, saying, "English is spoken here." Let me say that again. I was in a restaurant in Miami. It doesn't say Spanish is spoken here. It said English is spoken here. We have more Muslims in our country than exist in whole countries. We understand it can be done. It has to be done. There's no alternative. I am not naive about the challenges your great country faces. And I know that civil society can't vanquish an army on a battlefield. But groups like yours have changed the world before, and they will change it again. You've worked so hard to bring Ukraine to this point. I urge you to keep going. In other nations, and even here in Ukraine, we've seen crowds assembled in capital squares, overthrowing governments, proclaiming democracy. And then we've also seen them step back from the project they risked their lives to make possible. Step back. You cannot step back. Democracy is not a destination. Democracy is a road traveled, and it's a hard damn road to travel. And all Ukrainians, I suspect, are desirous of building a better future. And the United States, I promise you, will stand with you as long as you continue to travel the road. Travel the road toward real democracy this time. We will be your partner and your friend as long as we exist, as long as you are on that road. And we're looking to you, the unelected, but civil society, to make sure this time you stay in that road. So I thank you for being so gracious to listen to me. I hope I haven't overspent my 10 minutes because you're still standing. And as I understand it, I'm going to get an opportunity, with your permission, to walk to each of the tables. And I understand you have different subjects, but I'm delighted to do it that way or do it all at once or any way you want. But I'm anxious to hear from you. Thank you for listening to me.